Hello everyone and welcome back to the Railway Shed, and a very Merry Christmas to all of you. Today we have a variety of different things happening in the shed, partly for Christmas, but mainly for reaching the milestone of 100 subscribers. I honestly can't believe that I've reached this milestone so soon, and I definitely couldn't have done it without all of you guys. I started this channel as only a hobby to distract myself, but now I've got an audience and I'm feeling safe and part of a community. So without any further ado, let's get on to the Q&A. So let's get started with the Q&A. Firstly, CDYVids22 asked, what's the most troublesome loco in your collection? Well, to answer that, I would say either my Bachmann Gordon or my Hornby Hogwarts Express locomotive. The Bachmann Gordon is just generally disappointing in the way it runs. Yes, it's good in terms of performance, in terms of slow speed, but other than that, it doesn't reach a high enough speed to warrant it being labelled as an express engine, in my opinion. The Hogwarts Express, on the other hand, is just generally faulty. Ever since I've had it, there's been the coupling rods shredding off the wheels, jamming them and flying the engine off the track and down onto the ground. And every attempt I've made at repairing it has just not worked. Number 2. What plans do you have for the new layout? Well, you'll see in a bit my new plans for the layout and what I've got so far, but one of the main things I want to do is expand it to make it my own, because the layout I had previously, I never built it. So I want to have things like a good shunting yard, a good loop of track, and I want to incorporate 009 into it somehow, as I quite like narrow gauge steam railways. Number 3. How many Thomas-esque locos do you have, including basis? Well, this is going to be a big one. Well, I've got 3 Thomases, 2 E2s, 3 Percys, 2 Panniers, aka Duck, a Terrier, aka Stepney, Bachmann Gordon alongside Flying Scotsman, a Ginty as well as an 08, an A4 aka Spencer, as well as last but certainly not least, a Hornby Edward and a Hornby James. So in total I have 17 Thomas and Thomas basis characters. The Amazing Gamer 69 asked, what's your favourite loco in your collection? Well, I don't really have a straight answer to that. In terms of emotional value, my first Hornby Thomas definitely is, as it was the first model train that I ever received. But in terms of favourite and detail, I'd probably have to say my Bachmann L97, as it's just amazingly detailed and a great runner. What's your favourite in real life locomotive or locomotives? Well, for narrow gauge, I think you can already guess, it's in the background to almost all my videos. And of course, this is Dolgok. I don't know why, but there's just something about this little old engine that just is so amazing to me. Its size, its proportions, the fact that it ran the Talaclin back to back with no help for years. I don't know what it is, it's just such an amazing engine, and I was honoured to step on her footplate when I visited Wales this year. In terms of standard gauge, however, that would go to the pannier tank L92. Now, I know pannier tanks are pretty common engines on the heritage railway scene, but on my 10th birthday I was invited up into the cab of this engine and was able to pull the whistle and back down onto a train. That was truly an experience I'll never forget, and one I'm so grateful for. Thank you for the South Devon Railway for providing that experience. So yeah, L92 is my favourite standard gauge engine. What locos do you want to get for your collection? Well, where do I even start? There's so many. I want to get a Hornby Black 5, a Hornby 8F, a Hornby Gordon and Henry. I want to get the Bachmann Ryan, the Bachmann Daisy, the Bachmann Toby, and a Rapido J70, just to name a few of them. So that's the Q&A section. Let's get to the next section of the video. For all this time, let's take our first look at the new layout. I'll apologise inconvenience. Because I'm in a cast, the only way I can really move is hop. So if you get motion sickness, maybe skip this section out. So firstly, on this side, we've got a lovely yard with multiple sidings to store multiple trains. There's 3 roads in this yard, that one not included, and they come out all to here. The first road goes inwards to a small goods shed, which I may use as just an engine shed. That connects onto the main line, which brings it round to the actual main line, which has got a siding here for about 2 coaches and a small engine. Behind that, there's a little runoff section to store a coach or some engines, as well as a 3rd lane to store a train. We've also got the signal box here. And which brings us round, to this section on the main line and connects up here just after the level crossing. On the other track, there's a siding that goes round to a small storage yard, which I might make into a small factory scene. But for now it's just holding some tankers as well as Flying Scotsmen. The 2 main lines stretch round here and will eventually go past and round the shed. That brings us on to the next side. The line brings us round into a 2-road station, which is the same station on my old layout, but now has space for 2 trains to fit in simultaneously. Behind that, there's a small bay platform, which connects up there, which I very well may run this side into a scene, but I haven't chosen what yet, so if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, that's pretty much the layout right now. Of course I'm going to extend it roundwards, and on top of it, about this height, the sign of that sign, I'm going to have another section that runs the whole way round the shed up to about the banister there, which is going to contain a rising section from one of these lines that goes all the way up to a small depot which will either house a slate drop-off for the 009, which will have a small, or not small, track that runs around into a terminus at a slate quarry. Therefore, in terms of like the story of my layout, I don't know if you'd call it that, but the slate comes up from the hills and gets transferred onto the standard gauge trains, which then can be taken down onto the main line. So yeah, that's the layout update so far. If you've got any ideas for what I could add to the layout or how I could make it better, please let me know, as I'm always looking for some improvement in terms of my skills. Now let's move on to the final section of the video, a surprise review. So last on the 2023 Christmas Extravaganza for the Railway Shed, we've got this mystery review coming up shortly. You may be asking yourself, what on earth is in this box? Well, let's find out. Packing peanuts, that's it. I'm just joking, there is actually something in here. And it's none other than a Sam's Trains London North Western Railway Santa Sleigh Wagon for 2023. This of which being number 98 out of 125. As soon as I saw the video announcing these, I knew I just had to get one for the channel to celebrate Christmas as well as getting 100 subscribers. So let's take a closer look into this piece of rolling stock. As you may know, this piece of rolling stock is nearly entirely 3D printed from Sam at Sam's Trains. The only part not being 3D printed is the wheels. The couplings are, the running plate is, as well as the wagon body and the sleigh. It's very free rolling as well, which is a lovely feature on any wagon. Some parts came separate in the small bag, including the buffers and the couplings, as to not damage them in transport. You also get 3 little presents to go in the back of the sleigh, however one of mine fell out, so I've only got the 2. So yes, that's it for 2023. Thank you so much for watching, and I just can't believe that we have 100 subscribers and are still growing. I just want to thank you so much for it. I honestly can't describe it. There'll be new videos coming out in January, but for now I'm going to take a break to spend Christmas with my family. Thank you so much for watching, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.